jingle. And it's amazing to have been able to do, what have I just read now, twice in under a week. Aren't we lucky? So do keep on and joining us in the chapel, because it really is so much fun and much better when there's more than just me alone. And difficult readings today. Revelation 1, having some connection issues.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's going to start, the number is starting to roll again.
Yeah, so apparently they say that to understand the book of Revelation, you need to be familiar. It will be preferable if you are familiar with the Old Testament to understand all those visions and symbols. And they said that it especially applies to the book of Daniel, because there's also visions, and so probably there's a reason why we have those two readings starting on the same day.
That's really interesting. Yeah. That is interesting. And it's quite interesting because actually I did actually have a quick read in this great book, which I do recommend, which is Reflections on Daily Prayer, which is sort of written in conjunction with the service, and specifically comments by different clergy within the Anglican Church about the readings. They picked the Daniel reading. What was very interesting was they said actually, because it's historical with all the reference to kings, and it's actually, that historical reference is kind of incorrect, because it really shouldn't be seen as a truthful historical document. And the author of the piece said, in fact, I'm not too bothered about historical accuracy, because there's always that question about whether something is exact or whether it's truthful. And you can sort of perhaps not be exact, but still find an inner and deeper truth within the kind of the symbolism of the story and the essence of the meaning. And they were saying that Daniel is... This is a roller coaster ride. This is a roller coaster ride with reconnecting. There's obviously a power of revelations or something that's kind of affected this. Yeah.
Breaking connection when we're saying something that we shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe it's just revelations making us kind of keeping us on the edge of our seats.
Yeah, finding new ideas. And actually, it's interesting what you said about it being not only a historical book, because I read the opposite about Revelation, that it's not only an apocalyptical book, but also a historical one. Because the context, the historical context in which it was written, the persecution that early Christians were facing, is very important to understand this. And here is the other way around. So
it's interesting that, again, there's a nice kind of reflection between the two, a link between the two. And it's interesting because actually it does speak at the end of that piece that you read. It says the seven, as for the mystery of the seven stars that you saw on the right hand, and the seven golden stars and the angels, the seven lampstands are the seven churches. So that does actually link it very much into real churches in real places. In such a challenge, can you imagine? I think back in the first century, it was sort of not much of a difference, really. It was kind of these whole new ideas that Christ had brought in, these new churches, these new structures. How do we live our lives? How does it affect the way we do things and think about the way we do things? I think it was really, I mean, things obviously move a bit slower, and you couldn't Google it online, but I think it's very similar. I think there must have been all sorts of challenges like that.
It's always hard when it's changing, and even now with the advent of AI, people are talking about the apocalypse.
Exactly. And people can't agree, and it's very hard to see what's ahead when you're right in the middle of it. It's always very easy to look with hindsight at all the decisions and decide what was a good decision and what was a bad decision. But when you're sort of living it in real time, it's actually hard to know which is the right direction to take. So amazing challenges, but very interesting. Great. Anything else to add? Just except Daniel. I love Daniel. I'm always very excited when I read Daniel, and I just love, because of course we're going to have the light in the fire that's coming up, isn't it? And I do love when the guy said, look, we're not going to eat that food prepared by the king. And I do like the kind of clever head of the household, the head chief, what do you call it, butler or servant, who goes, well, in fact, if you don't you might not look so healthy, and then Nebuchadnezzar will ask me, why are these guys looking not healthy, and you didn't feed them, why didn't you feed them? Our patience.
Yeah, we were saying that
Daniel's a good
diplomat. Yeah. Oh no, the timer.
the timer still it's going, the timer is ticking.
Yeah, so he knows how to go about it. So he says, let's try it for 10 days, and if we're as good as the others, you'll let us eat vegetables.
Forever. Yeah, and I do love the idea of just vegetables and water, and they're looking healthy on it. Wine and the good stuff. Great.
And then
anyway.
It's interesting how they looked even healthier, and they were wiser than everybody else, so they were allowed to have their way.
Right, exactly. And better than all the other magicians and enchanters. 10 times better than those other people.
And again, I think I just keep finding those links, maybe it's a bit far-fetched, but about Daniel and his companions receiving knowledge from God, and then in the whole revelation is about it. So the author, John, says, I was in the Spirit, so this is how he gets this revelation.
Right.
So,
that's great. That's good, yeah, lots to think about.
yeah, and even in the Revelation, I think that even priests say that it's hard to interpret.
Right.
So yes, knowing the Old Testament and the Gospels helps, but still
it's always a mystery, isn't it? And it's always amazing that it's right at the end. It's the one which somehow I feel so inadequate in approaching it and trying to understand it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a truth that we wait for, a revelation, literally later on at some point.
So
anyhow, we're quite interested which place. Okay, and the number is not going up. It's not going up. Well, we're trying to finish this and say goodbye. Okay, well maybe that is just goodbye.
Maybe, yeah.
It's amazing. It's actually literally not stopped.
Yeah, it decided that it should
It's decided that we should end.
38.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we're live or not. The numbers it's not broadcasting. So, bye-bye. Have a great and wonderful time, and see you tomorrow. Bye. Quite interesting.